This is a wild story. A Minnesota man was just charged with impersonating a federal agent in trying to bust Luigi Mangione out of the MDC. This is so crazy. I just got my hands on this complaint, but he is set to make an appearance in the Eastern District of New York in Brooklyn. That's where he's federally charged any minute now. I know that you're not going to see this podcast until Friday, which is January 30th. So I don't have any info on whether or not this guy is going to be held or detained. But what I am going to do is go over the entire criminal complaint because this is crazy. So I'm going to pull it up right now. And just for some background, I was actually in federal court in Manhattan for the Alexander brothers. And I get out and I see this email, and I can just read part of it to you. And it's from the press agent at the Eastern District of New York. And at this point, we weren't really allowed to say anything yet. He said it's off the record for planning purposes. This is going to be happening. But he said an individual last night showed up at the MDC in Brooklyn after he claimed to be an FBI agent. And he said he had a court order to release Luigi Mangione. The Bureau of Prison Personnel is like, let me see your credentials, all this stuff. And he showed them a Minnesota driver's license. And he also said he had weapons in his bag. These weapons were a pizza cutter. This guy works at a pizza restaurant, apparently. And I guess he had come to New York for a failed, or he didn't know it was failed, but he came to New York for a job opportunity that ended up not working out. And he also had a barbecue fork in his bag. I don't really know what a barbecue fork is. Or I mean, I do now, but I didn't. I couldn't picture that. But I'm like, okay. And yeah, they eventually were like, wait, what is this? This is fake. This isn't real. I mean, they could see right through him is what it sounded like from this complaint. And they eventually detained him and then charged him. And yeah, he had an appearance today in Brooklyn, and Luigi is still in the MDC. And I've actually been looking to see if his team has issued any kind of statement, and they haven't yet, but I'm sure they will, because I feel like the defense doesn't love this stuff. They don't love that people are trying to spring their client out of jail, because I mean, clearly, I don't know, of course, but I'm fairly certain Luigi wasn't writing to this guy being like, hey man, get me out. I don't think they have any sort of connection whatsoever. So yeah, the defense probably isn't okay with this. But let me get to this complaint. So I put it up on my Twitter here. As always, you guys know I love to tweet everything and show it to you guys this way. I'll make myself a little bit smaller so you can see the complaint a bit better. There we go. Okay, so I'll read it to you rather fast, but it basically says Thomas Ford, being duly sworn, deposes and states that he is a special agent with the FBI, blah, blah, blah. You get all that. Okay. On or about January 28th, 2026, within the Eastern District of New York, the defendant, Mark Anderson, did knowingly and intentionally falsely assume and pretend to be an officer and employee acting under the authority of the U.S. and a department agency and officer thereof, and did act as such. And just side note, I guess, do people not understand the weight of what they are doing and how this is literally a federal crime that potentially holds a prison sentence? I know that to a lot of people, it might just seem like a joke, like, oh, hey, we're just joking around. We're trying, it's just like, this is not a joke. I mean, I think, we, most of us should be able to see that. I don't know what this guy was thinking, because it doesn't sound like he was super prepared to pretend to be this agent anyway. But moving on, he just talks about, yes, he's been a special agent in New York, blah, blah. Okay. He's familiar with the facts and the circumstances set forth as described below. There is probable cause to believe that the defendant, Mark Anderson, falsely impersonated himself to be an FBI agent at the MDC located in Brooklyn. January 28th at approximately 1850 hours, the defendant, Mark Anderson, approached the intake area inside the MDC and claimed to be ununiformed, or claimed to ununiformed members of the FBI that the BOP, the FBOP, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, that he was an FBI agent in possession of paperwork, quote, signed by a judge authorizing the release of a specific inmate who was in custody at the MDC. And by the way, Luigi's name is not mentioned in this complaint. I had a law enforcement source confirm with me that it was Luigi. And also, I was talking to people at the court as well. And yeah, so anyway, you will not see Luigi's name in here. So yes, signed by a judge when authorizing the release of a specific inmate who was in custody at the MDC. When asked to provide federal credentials, the defendant, Mark Anderson, displayed a Minnesota driver's license to the BOP officers and then claimed to be in possession of weapons. I don't know if that was like a threat or he just claimed to be in possession. Who knows? Or he's being, forthcoming. Anderson also displayed displayed and threw at the BOP officers numerous documents. Okay, yeah, the throwing seems aggressive. I have reviewed those papers and they appear to be related to filing claims against the U.S. Department of Justice. Oh, wow. Mark Anderson was detained by members of the BOP, and a backpack he possessed was searched to reveal a large barbecue-type fork and a round steel blade. And he was then taken into custody, and these are the images. So there's the barbecue fork that I was like, what? Okay, that makes sense. And then the blade, which looks like a very professional pizza cutting blade. So there you have it, folks. I am keeping a very close eye on this story just because it's so wild. Let me take this off the screen. And I can also just update you on Luigi's cases while we're talking about Luigi, because Friday I will be in federal court where by the time you see this, maybe or maybe not, a judge will have decided about the capital offense in Luigi's federal case. So right now he is eligible for the death penalty with his federal case because of counts 3 and 4, which is, basically count 3, which is the red rum, which you know what I'm trying to say here. I just don't want YouTube to ban me. Red rum through the use of a firearm. This is a capital offense, and this is actually the only red rum charge on the federal indictment. So it's tough. I can't really see the judge dismissing that, but I could also see her maybe saying, but I don't think that capital punishment is appropriate. It doesn't, it's not legally sufficient. The indictment doesn't show that, the elements of the capital punishment is met. I mean, I'm sure she can say something like that because there was, I think a motion in early 2025 where the defense had moved to get death off the table. So I feel like, yeah, that charge maybe has to stick, but she could just go ahead and say, nope, death isn't happening. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Also, just keep in mind that in federal prison, there's no such thing as parole. Most inmates serve, let's say, 85 to 90% of their sentences because, if you have like a 20-year sentence, you can serve 85% based on time served prior, good behavior, whatever. But if you have a life sentence, there's really not much you can do. Additionally, in the state case, the 80-age Joel Seidemann, he had requested literally on Wednesday, which was January 28th, he wrote a letter saying that he wanted the trial for the state to start in July of 2026. So a summer trial this summer. The defense quickly put out a statement after that, and they were like, wait, what? This is the first we've heard of it. We need a little bit more time to prepare because we just got the trial dates for the federal trial, which a judge last week, the federal judge had said that they're going to start jury selection in the fall or September of 2026. And then depending on whether or not the case would be capital, we would either start in October of 2026 or January of 2027. So I think we're going to find out in court Friday whether or not it's capital or not. So yeah, stay tuned for this guy, Mark Anderson. What a wild story. I cannot get over it. Whew, people got some balls. Anyway, thanks for watching Los Angeles Magazine, our daily pop culture scandals and crime news podcast. I'm Lauren Conlin, and I'll be back next week.